how can you monitor and measure the effectiveness of your SEO results and campaign? We use tools like Agency Analytics, Rank Ranger, and they've used tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs in the past. There's a lot of different tracking tools out there. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you have done your proper keyword research to know which keywords you're actually targeting. And I know that a lot of these rank tracking tools, it's easy to want to just add every single keyword that you can possibly think of and have it track everything. I like to be a little bit more intentional about the keywords I'm tracking. So if I've got a website, I'm probably going to limit it to about max five keywords per page. And I'm going to look at keywords on a per page basis. So after I've determined which pages on the site I'm going to be targeting in my SEO campaign, I'm going to do keyword research on each of those and find the 5 top keywords for each page that I want to make sure I'm targeting. And of those 5, I'm generally going to choose one of them as my top focus. I do it this way just because I don't want to get overwhelmed with information down the road when I'm looking at tracking. And I know that sometimes, actually, there's a lot of times where if you're tracking multiple keywords that are really, really similar, Google ends up looking at them as the same keyword anyway. So I'm not going to be as concerned about tracking like the singular version of something and the plural version of something. I'm going to choose the one that has the higher search volume and track that one. The reason why I actually set aside, the top keyword per page, because I always want to make sure that each page is focused, has a singular focus. And a lot of the tracking tools will actually give you the ability to star different keywords. So I'll go back and I'll star the single top keyword for each page. That way, when I'm looking at my results in a glance, I can say, okay, these are the 5 keywords that represent the 5 pages I'm targeting, and these are actually all trending in the right direction. That gives me a high level, at a glance view of how things are doing. But how to actually look at this from, is the campaign a success or not? I generally look at success in 3 different metrics. So first metric is rankings. I do not tend to look at rankings in isolation, which means that like if I make a change in a website, I'm not going to look at the rankings tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, the next day, and wait on pins and needles to see what Google does. I'm going to make my changes, and I'm going to check back next month, and I'm going to see what happens. I do know with the most all rank tracking tools and with Google, and Google's constantly fluctuating in the way they're presenting their search results. So I'm not going to even look at 1 month of data to determine whether or not something's going up and down. I'm going to actually use trend data. So if I make a change in January that I think is good, and it goes down in February when the rank tracking goes through, then I'm not necessarily going to be alarmed, because I know that a lot of these tools can hit Google at the wrong time and it'll paint a bad picture. And I don't want to look at things in isolation. So a lot of times I'll pay attention to that because that's still important, but I'm going to a lot of times wait a little bit longer to see, does that trend stay down or does it jump right back up to where I wanted it to be? Obviously, if it goes down even further or if it stays there, then that's a concern. I need to go look at things, revert my changes, look at some other metrics. But I've definitely seen a lot of times where we've jumped the gun and looked at results in isolation and undid good changes, because I've just seen too many times where you'll make a change, it'll dip down, or even no change is made, it'll dip down, and then it'll jump right back up the next month. So I tend to look at data in 2 to 3 month trends, just to see how things are sticking. And once I see keywords moving in the right direction, then I look for changes in organic traffic. And obviously, if I'm looking on a per page basis, then I may be looking at traffic on a per page basis as well. Generally speaking, your page traffic is not going to go up unless your rankings go up. and unless you get ranked for keywords that you're not targeting. That does happen, but I usually want to see efforts from results from my own efforts. So in that case, I want to see ranking improvements first, then traffic improvements. Same kind of thing. I do like to look at trend data. So looking at a couple months at a time, just to make sure, nothing weird is going on. And then once traffic is going up, then we tend to look at any conversion events that may happen on those pages that are being measured. A lot of times you're not going to see conversions increase until traffic is increased, unless you've made like on-site conversion optimization changes. So rankings first, traffic second, and then conversions third. And I generally am not going to be looking at traffic while I'm still in the ranking improvement phase. If we've got a site that's ranking on page 4 of Google, and we've made changes and we've got it up to page 3, make more changes up to page 2. At no point am I looking at traffic and expecting it to be any different, because the rankings are not showing that it should be any different. So that's just something I want to call out, because I know I see a lot of businesses, they forget about the ranking changes and they want to see the traffic changes. I'm like, well, if you started at a very low place in your SEO efforts, then it does take time to go through the first success channels, which is ranking improvements, before you see any success in the traffic.